So, giving a brief introduction about Dr. Dimpy Handa. Dr. Dimpy Handa, she is a highly accomplished academic and experienced professional in the field of commerce and management. And she holds a degree from the Department of Commerce and the prestigious Delhi School of Economics. Her major areas of specialization are organization behavior development. And Dr. Handa has authored various books, various research papers, and she has been handling a lot of administrative responsibilities in colleges of Delhi University. So over to Dr. Dimpy Handa.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nisha Jan, for this wonderful introduction. I hope I'm audible.
Yes,
Let me
yes,
check
you are.
my mic and
Yes,
also
ma'am.
also let me know whenever my screen is visible. Okay. Uh,
Okay, okay.
just send it back. Uh, Tanusha ma'am, there's some problem with my browser. I need to restart it to present my PPT. Okay, just I'm logging out and coming back.
Okay, okay, not an issue.
मैम बाकी स्टूडेंट्स के लिए मीटिंग फुल शो हो रहा है, वो ज्वाइन नहीं कर पा रहे हैं.
But we are sharing the YouTube link here, so you can join. The students can join on the YouTube link as well. Okay.
Okay.
Dimpy ma'am, you are now visible. You can start the session.
Again, there's some technical problem. I'm not able to share my screen with all of you. Is it visible now?
Yes, yes, it is.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, fine. Is the presentation visible now?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for the confirmation. So, first of all, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Welcome to the session for Beyond the Board, a guide to crafting research posters that create conversations rather than just portraying up the research work into the field of your domain. So before I actually technically start up with your this session, I would like to take you to a modern art exhibition. Are you all able to see these beautiful paintings over here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. Can you just, if I ask you to pick one of them which catches your eye the most, just pick one of your favorites.
Oh, I'm pick. Yes, ma'am. I- I'm choose Kylie.
Okay, I was waiting for everyone else to choose. Okay. So I'll stop scrolling over here. So this, okay. Yes, Miss Dia, do you have a question? We'll wait. Can we all wait for the Q&A session? I'll give you ample opportunity of to raise your questions, and I'll take up that. Before that, I would like to start the session first, and we'll take up your queries in meantime. Okay. So this is just a replica of how a modern art exhibition of paintings look like when we visit some modern art gallery. Now, creating a poster is somewhat similar to the process of creating a good eye catching painting, because the time of the audience is very limited, and you require to gather their eye, you need to catch their eye through your work within only few seconds. Otherwise it will be like a random walk in the art gallery where people doesn't understand your art, doesn't comprehend to the thought of the painter behind creating such wonderful paintings over here. So coming back to main topic in hand, beyond the board. When we say beyond the board, it is basically means your research poster is not just a piece of paper that has to be put up on the board. It is much more than that. It is basically a conversation starter for you to gain much more deeper insight into your area of field or expertise you are trying to get in. So assuming all of you are UG students and trying to get into the field of research by this fourth year. So this workshop is basically for you to understand how important is poster presentation for you, and what are the actual elements of your poster that can take you way ahead, way deeper into your research area. Understanding the poster creation requires you to first understand what is a research poster. In certain books or languages, you will find it non calling research paper as a research poster as an academic poster also. So both are synonym. Research poster is basically a catalyst for converting a thought into a dialogue, where people uses a visual medium to design and spark one-on-one engagement and seek feedback from the experts. So when we try to visualize, when we use visuals or infographics as a medium to connect with the experts in our field, that is called a poster. It derives from different complex research and combines not just the text but also the data driven charts and impactful images. Not long enough, I'll show you certain example of how impactful posters basically look like. These posters are designed for asynchronous interactive academic communication, and the basic strategy behind portraying and presenting a poster requires it to be very summarized and crisp. You do not need to overburden your posters with text, with the thoughts and opinions that you portrayed in your research paper. Your poster needs to be very crisp in terms of the language, in terms of the work that you have done in the research. Your posters connects and is a medium for you to connect and network through the academic expertise area. For example, if you are there in a conference presenting a research paper in the field of marketing, you expect hundreds of experts, hundred of research scholars from the field of marketing to be present over there. They are walking the gallery where many of the posters are portrayed, academic posters are portrayed, and the ones that the audience catches eye is of your academic work. That is a distinguished achievement in itself, because it will help you to connect and network through the experts in your field. Also, poster could serve as a medium to validate and refine your existing research and the ongoing part. Again, you can use a poster for an ongoing research. It doesn't require you to finish off your research completely and then go ahead to for the poster presentation. If your research majority of the work of your research is already done, even then you can go ahead with the poster presentation, and that is the beauty of the poster presentation. Because when the work is ongoing and then you present your poster, you seek feedback from the experts, you get more pointers to improve your research work, that helps you to validate and refine your academic work. Also, this poster presentation works as an amplifier for you to broadcast your level of knowledge, your understanding of the topic to the world. Further, how do we choose whether I should go for a poster presentation or a paper presentation in the form of a PPT or a slides? So basically, the idea of paper presentation is of the utmost importance. You need to go ahead and portray your work of research to maximum number of people in your area that you can gather through within conferences or seminars. Now the idea is कि whether should I go for the poster presentation or the paper presentation. One of the major difference between the two is, as I said, कि research posters can also be drawn or can also be created even when your work is ongoing, when you have not drafted the whole paper in itself, but you have the idea, you have the pointers, you all together your research work, you have maintained your diary, and everything is there, but not in a finalized polished way. Even then you can go ahead and do a poster presentation which is more visual based and interactive based, rather than like a paper presentation which is more data driven and requires you to first finish off your research paper completely. Because again, paper presentation through a PPT is more large, and it is of more content and is used for more passive audience rather than for the people who are actually interested in the group discussion form of understanding each other's research. So again, just make it a criteria when the research is still ongoing, when you don't have a polished version or the final draft ready. Just go ahead with the poster presentation rather than for the PPT one. Now, what an effective poster look like? So an effective posters basically have these 7 pointers. So if you can see over here, the first, the horizontal, again, you can decide whether you have to prepare a poster in a landscape format or a portrait format. Now major conference basically describe their own format of poster presentation. So you can draw it both ways, in a portrait format or in a landscape format. Over here I have taken the anatomy of a landscape poster. I'll tell you the difference, what key difference will be there if there is a portrait based poster. Okay, so if it is a horizontal landscape based poster, the first heading, the title, along with the name of the author, their affiliation and their designation goes on the top of the poster. Over here, basically what we do, we follow left to right approach. Again, as a reader, if I open up a book or even any poster I see randomly, our eyes are in a habit is to read from left to right. Okay, so again, I'll put most of the prominent information on the left hand side, then on the right hand side, so that it catches the eye of the reader. Similarly, this portion second is basically reserved for the introduction or the background of the research part, which basically sets the stage ki why does this particular research matter in your field of expertise. Similarly, downward moving will be writing down the objectives or the research questions. Basically, from the objectives only, we draw up the research questions, which states what is the core purpose of the existence of this research. Okay, what are we trying to discover, or what are we trying to locate as an end result of this research. The fraction reserved for point 4 and 5 basically describes the methodology and explains how the research and objectives are being achieved. So methodology is a long part over here. That is why a lengthier part of the poster always being reserved for the methodology, because what is the process of deriving to the key findings of the research paper is equally important of what are the final findings. If there is any flaw in the process of achieving any particular goal, then means those goals, those end products in itself are flawed over there. So you need to be very precise about what methodology to adopt and how to portray it on the poster. And that's why you see over here majority of the research paper is covered by the methodology portion only. Moving further to the sixth part, which will include your conclusion along with the implication. If I'm I hope majority of you are from commerce and management background, or do we have sciences
No,
also?
ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay, humanities and sciences we do have. Okay,
Yeah.
so basically in the field of management and commerce, we do write managerial implications. Okay, but when it comes to the field of sciences and humanities, again, your implications are targeted towards a different stakeholder. Okay, so if I'm doing some kind of medical study or testing some kind of medicines or pharmaceutical products, okay, so over there the implications are drawn towards the patients or the doctors who are going to use those treatments or medications. Over here, from the commerce and management background, you need to particularly mention ki what are the implications for the managers, for the customers, for the employees of the conclusion that you have drawn within your research area. And finally, to protect the author's integrity, you should always mention the references, giving due credit to the authors or the work from where you have driven your research. Your research will always be an original novel product of your efforts, but obviously you are going to take certain pointers. You will be doing literature review, you will be taking up methodological processes drawn up by someone else, so you should always present the last section on the poster with the references and acknowledgement to give a proper foundation and credit wherever it is due. Again, moving forward, what if the poster that I'm going to place for presentation is in the portrait mode? If it is in the portrait mode, you have to draw up the poster only in two column basis. So over here on in the landscape version of the poster, we do have the freedom to take up three, okay, to take up as many as three columns into my hand. But when it comes to portrayal, it is more lengthier than its width. Okay, so over there we restrict ourselves to use more than two columns in a particular poster. These patterns, these spacing of the content basically allows readers to focus on the key area of your research. I Okay, so let's just go ahead for the queries. I saw a few hands raised up over here. Yes, Mr. Piyush, do you have a query?
मैम मैम, द कंक्लूजन वाला जो आपने एरिया समझाया था ना
Right.
मैम, वो एक्चुअली मैम ये मेरे को समझ नहीं आया कौन।
Okay. Are you working on any current research right now?
यस मैम।
Yes, ma'am.
Could you please specify if it's okay with you? What is the title of your research?
मैम, एंशियंट इंडियन पॉलिटिक्स एंड इट्स ड्यूटी एंड राइट्स।
Okay, ancient Indian politics is duty and its right. Okay, while writing down the conclusion of your research, okay, there will be certain points of implication towards the society. Given this topic is from politics,
मैम
political science.
मैम 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 आप कैन मैम आप इसको बाइलिंगुअल तरीके से थोड़ा एक्सप्लेन कर
Okay,
सकती हैं?
okay, fine, fine, fine.
हाँ।
It's okay. आप जब आप अपना रिसर्च पेपर खत्म कर लेंगे, उसका कंक्लूजन लिखेंगे, ठीक है? कंक्लूजन इज बेसिकली कि रिसर्च जो मैंने पूरी की, ठीक है, तो उसके बेसिस पे मैंने क्या तत्कर्ष निकाला, मैंने क्या फाइनल वर्डिक्ट निकाला मेरी रिसर्च करने के बाद, वो मेरा कंक्लूजन है, ठीक है? ये कंक्लूजन लिखने के बाद अगेन आपका जो टाइटल है एंशिएंट इंडिया पॉलिटिक्स, ठीक है, इसके बेसिस पे आपने कुछ ना कुछ इनसाइट्स, कुछ ना कुछ ऑब्जर्वेशंस निकाली होंगी, वो जाएंगे आपका कंक्लूजन पार्ट में। अब इन ऑब्जर्वेशंस का हमारी सोसाइटी पे क्या इम्पैक्ट है, दैट इज कॉल्ड इम्प्लीकेशन, ठीक है? तो ये इम्प्लीकेशन लिखना बहुत जरूरी है। ये इम्प्लीकेशन वाला पार्ट हमें बताता है कि आपकी रिसर्च का सोसाइटी में क्या कंट्रीब्यूशन है। जैसे कि मैंने कहा कॉमर्स और मैनेजमेंट के जो ज्यादातर रिसर्च होती है वो मैनेजेरियल इम्प्लीकेशंस लिखते हैं। मान लीजिए मैंने मार्केट में गई, एक स्टडी फील्ड सर्वे किया, वहां मैंने लोगों से पूछा कि जेंजीज को पकड़ पकड़ के मैंने पूछा कि आपको
मैम मैम
कैफीन बेस्ड ड्रिंक्स, हाँ जी,
क्या है
हाँ
मैम, कुछ
जी,
बोल सकते?
हाँ जी बताइए।
मैम जैसे कि मेरे ही है, जो मैंने रिसर्च करी है
हाँ
अभी
जी,
कर रहा हूँ मैं, पूरा कंप्लीट नहीं हुआ है, लेकिन उसके अंदर जो मेरा है उस वो बेसिकली अर्थशास्त्र या मनुष्य नीति पे है। तो उसमें अर्थशास्त्र के अंदर काफी
ओके,
सारी जो थ्योरीज है, लाइक दैट सप्तांग थ्योरी हो गई और मंडल थ्योरी हो गई, है ना, और एक सप्तनेंग थ्योरी हो गई, जो एक इंटरनेशनल रिलेशन में एक अभी तक इम्प्लाई हो रही है,
इम्प्लीमेंट हो रही है, वो अभी तक
इम्प्लीमेंट हो रही है,
इम्प्लीमेंट हो
सॉरी,
रही है, हाँ जी,
इम्प्लीमेंट हो रही है। हाँ।
हाँ जी।
तो मैम हम हम यही चीज तो हम एक तरीके से लिखेंगे कि हमारा जो कंक्लूजन में कि
हम्म,
जो हमने रिसर्च करी है वो पहले के टाइम से अभी के टाइम में
हम्म,
अभी तक रेलेवेंट है वो सब्जेक्ट, और अभी कहीं ना कहीं वो अभी भी वो अप्लाई हो रही है,
हाँ
अप्लाई
जी,
हो रही है।
हाँ जी। तो क्या
यही
उसकी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन में कोई चेंजेस आए?
मैम, काफी सारे चेंजेस होंगे, क्योंकि मैम
हम्म,
पहले का जो टाइम था वो
हम्म,
का वो एक छोटे एरिया पे डिपेंड करता था,
राइट,
है ना,
राइट, हाँ जी,
क्योंकि उस टाइम पे स्टेट को भी एक छोटा एरिया बोला जाता था, जैसे कि एक पाटलिपुत्र हो गया,
हम्म,
है ना, तो
राइट, राइट,
है ना, और जैसे वहां पे जैसे हम छोटे 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 स्टेट्स जो होते थे हमारे यहाँ के, जैसे अभी के टाइम के, जैसे दिल्ली हो गया वगैरह वगैरह, तो हम वो होते थे पहले के टाइम पे उसने छोटे छोटे, जैसे ग्रीक स्टेट, है ना, जिनकी आबादी करीब 2 लाख होगी या 3 लाख होगी बस। लेकिन आज के टाइम में एक स्टेट की आबादी जैसे 1 करोड़ हो गया, 120 करोड़ हो गया, जैसे हमारी हो गई 1,040, काफी लोग हैं, काफी लोग हैं। लेकिन उसके साथ उनकी ज्योग्राफिकली काफी कुछ चेंज हुआ है, और उस ज्योग्राफिकली चेंज हुआ है, मैपिंग चेंज हुई है, और इसके साथ हमारा नेचर चेंज हुआ है, जिसकी वजह से हमें अलग अलग चीजों से सफर करना पड़ा
हम्म,
है। ये
हाँ, तो उसके क्या इम्प्लीकेशन बनते हैं कि आज के टाइम में उसकी वजह से क्या चेंजेस हम अपने अंदर लेकर आ सकते हैं और लोगों के अंदर, मतलब आपका जो स्टेक होल्डर है, ठीक है, वो एक तरीके की सोसाइटी है, तो सोसाइटी में उसकी वजह से क्या चेंजेस आ सकते हैं, ये आप लिस्ट डाउन कर सकते हैं अपने इम्प्लीकेशन वाले पार्ट में. बेसिकली
Okay.
इम्प्लीकेशन वाला पार्ट आपको ये अपॉर्चुनिटी देता है ये मेंशन करने की कि आपकी रिसर्च का क्या प्रैक्टिकल यूजेज है आज के टाइम पे.
Okay.
राइट.
Okay.
मैं एक छोटा सा
Okay.
एग्जांपल दे रही थी, दैट आई थिंक
मैम कैफीन
आज
के बारे
मार्केट,
में आप बोल रहे थे.
हाँ मैं वो ये बता रही थी, मैं आज जाती हूँ मार्केट, सर्वे करती हूँ जेंजी के को जेंजी के लोगों के ऊपर कि उनको कैफीन बेस्ड ड्रिंक्स पसंद है या नॉन कैफीन बेस्ड ड्रिंक पसंद है. मैं मार्केट सर्वे करती हूँ, लेट्स से अराउंड 1000 जेंजीज का, इंक्लूडिंग ऑल जेंडर्स, एंड उसमें रिपोर्ट निकलती है कि 96%, और अज्यूम करते हैं 96% ऑफ माई जेंजीज डज नॉट लाइक कैफीन बेस्ड ड्रिंक्स. तो अब इसका सबसे बड़ा मैनेजरियल इम्प्लीकेशन क्या हुआ कि आज की जो लेटेस्ट जनरेशन है उनको ये एरेटेड और कैफीन बेस्ड बेवरेजेस नहीं पसंद. तो जब मेरे और ऐसी मेरी कंपनी है जो कैफीन बेस्ड ड्रिंक्स बना रही है, तो मैं क्या करूंगी, मैं अपने प्रोडक्ट्स को इम्प्रोवाइज करूंगी. कैसे इम्प्रोवाइज करूंगी, उसके अंदर कैफीन का जो कंटेंट है या तो कम करूंगी, या तो मैं एक पूरी न्यू प्रोडक्ट लाइन इंट्रोड्यूस करूंगी मार्केट में विच इज कैफीन फ्री बेवरेजेस, क्योंकि मुझे अपना मार्केट शेयर क्रिएट करना है मार्केट के अंदर. सो दैट इज अ मेजर इम्प्लीकेशन ऑफ माय स्टडी. ओके.
Yes.
हाँ, मूविंग फॉरवर्ड नाउ, how to look at crafting the title. Now this is the most important part of your research. See, आप सबका एक नाम है, ठीक है, आपका नाम आपकी पर्सनैलिटी को डिस्क्राइब करता है या नहीं करता, दैट इज अ मेजर क्वेश्चन. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, मैं किसी लड़की से मिलती हूँ जिसका नाम है शर्मीली, बट शी इज वेरी बोल्ड, शी इज एन वेरी एक्सट्रोवर्ट, तो उसका नाम उसकी पर्सनैलिटी को मैच नहीं करता. So that should not be basically a case while drafting a poster presentation. So that is very important to have an appropriate title. The title should be very clear and concise, and it should highlight the core focus of your research. You should not be using very fancy and technical jargons, which should not be like easily understandable with everyone. And also मेक इट वेरी डिस्कवरेबल. डिस्कवरेबल इन द सेंस कि आपके टाइटल के अंदर जो वर्ड्स हैं दैट शुड सर्व एज अ की वर्ड्स फॉर दी फ्यूचर में कोई जाके रिसर्च कर रहा हो और ये वर्ड डाले, ठीक है, तो आपका पेपर सबसे ऊपर नजर आना चाहिए. सो आपके टाइटल के अंदर की वर्ड्स फॉर सर्चिंग शुड ऑलवेज बी अवेलेबल. ओके. सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल मैंने यहाँ पे दिया हुआ है, अगर आपकी टाइटल इस तरीके का है, एन इन्वेस्टिगेशन इनटू द वेरियस इफेक्ट्स ऑफ नोवेल कंपाउंड XYZ on cellular mitochondria in a controlled laboratory setting. So it has a lot of unnecessary information regarding the research paper into the title itself. Okay. Just by simply having a title like compound XYZ boosts mitochondrial efficiency gives much more focus and highlight to the poster. I'll tell you why. Because this title of compound XYZ boosts mitochondrial efficiency does not describe the insights and deeper part of the research paper. Over here, the audience, the targeted people, will be induced to look at the rest of the poster or read your research paper more thoroughly so that they better understand ki how does this compound impacts the mitochondrial efficiency. If you're putting everything in your title, then the essence of reading the paper or looking at the rest of the poster get lost in between. And putting in the technical specification that your poster should have a title size presented in the font size of between 72 to 100 point, which should actually, basically the rule of thumb is your poster should be readable. Okay, the title should be at least readable from 10 to 15 away. If a person is standing 10 to 15 feet away from your poster, should be able to read your title. And if that title is very catchy, looks very catchy, or is of interest to that person will automatically be drawn towards your poster. That's why I showed you this beautiful gallery over of the paintings over here. Okay, there are there are more than, I think, 30-40 paintings that I showed you by scrolling it down and asked you to pick any one. The one that you picked, you will be induced to walk to that particular painting and look into the deeper understanding of that painting. And that works similarly for your poster presentation as well. Okay. Now, how to architect the narrative that you are going to present through your poster. You should always and always use the columns for the flow of the poster. If it is a horizontal landscape poster, then keep it to the maximum of 3 or 4, not beyond that. Otherwise, it will look very heavily loaded with the text. Okay, you need to maintain, or if it is a case of a portrait poster, keep it to the maximum of 2. That is more neat and clean. Even okay, if you have a lot of graphs and tables to portray on your poster, only then go for beyond 2 to 3. That's the maximum height of it. Now, maintaining the logical order that, okay, the poster is basically like a comic book. Again, over here you have to present the whole of the story on one particular page. Okay, use as many infographics as you can, less of the text, but portray whole of your story. सारे characters के बारे में आप mention करो. Characters are all your variables. Okay, उन characters के आपस में क्या relationship है, यानी variables के बीच में क्या relationship है, और वो क्या story draw कर रहे हैं, and the moral of the story, which is your conclusion. From introduction to methods to result to your conclusion, it should be portrayed in a sequence of a story. So you can either use this Z approach or this extended Z approach, but this third is a big no-no. Okay. Also, you need to balance the text and visuals. The idea, again, the rule of thumb is to put 40% text, 40% visual, and 20% leave it to white space area. Okay, over here I would like to show you a poster here. Can you please identify whether or not this poster is a good fit for poster presentation?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Why?
Ma'am, basically there are lots of details in this poster. Like if there's a poster, so we have to just make a one highlighted page. Like if you're talking about the introduction or any other specified thing, we have to just place it the whole details of them. But this is totally fulfilled. Like details are totally fulfilled of it.
Again, my basic question stands that way only. If this poster is placed in the gallery for the conference, will you be induced to go ahead and read this particular and look at this particular poster?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, someone was saying something.
No, I was like, I'm gonna go and read it out. But if asking for it's looking good, no, it's not looking good.
Exactly. See, your the topic might be of your interest and you might be induced to read it, but at the face of it, what we call it, the face of the poster doesn't look really nice. It is too text heavy. If I go and drawn towards this poster, I will have to read a lot of things. Again, I'll be talking about the color theory later bit, but again, use basic the basic idea is you should not be using more than 3 colors in a particular poster, and that is valid for any type of decoration. Okay, even if you are we talk about any type of aesthetic, even if you are working on any presentation, a formal presentation should not have more than 3 colors in it. So over here I can see more than 3 colors over here and a lot of white space, right? And now I'll show you a what I call is a better poster according to the norms of poster presentation.
Ma'am, it's good. Via for visuals, it's quite good. But the same thing, there is lots of things on it, and I'm gonna read it. But as poster wise, I'm not gonna give him a good review.
Right. Again, the poster presentation, as we say, matters a lot because the content is your originality of work. But when it comes to poster presentation competitions, obviously in a conference, when you're presenting a paper, you are in a competition to get the best of the ethics, best of the work displayed on a piece of paper, okay, on a sheet of paper. Now you just have only 10 to 15 seconds for the judges to catch their eye, okay. So the first thing is you should make an aesthetically looking good poster so that it draws the eyes of the judges, so they are inclined to know a lot more about the poster. Just by looking at this aesthetic, I would say कि हाँ नहीं, even if I'm not from this particular domain of study, I would like to know that person, know the ideas, or know the psychology behind drafting this poster, okay. uh, so that's why I said having a third type of layout is a big no no, because that is the one which is more cluttered. If you are putting a lot of major things in the middle, in the center of the poster, okay, it looks a little bit cluttered. It doesn't look nice ki where should I start reading first, okay. Now this is the basic technicality of designing a poster, that you should keep more bullet points instead of putting a lot of paragraphs. So if you have a whole para or one page methodology and you want to put it in the form of paragraph, extract the key points and put it in the form of bullets in your post. Keep it more short and in the format of declarative sentences than opinion based, okay. Keep boldness only for the keywords. Whatever keywords are mentioned in the poster, only those should be highlighted in bold and not every other text, okay. Again, that confuses the reader and the audience who are looking at the poster. And focus relentlessly on what matters the most and cut the rest. If you are writing a 15-page research paper, you have to extract only those points which can be easily understandable and which contains the whole essence of your research paper. You have to identify those points, okay. Again, using the typography as the headings, for the headings you can use 36 to 48 point. The body text, ideal size is 2 to 3 feet away from the board where the poster is placed. It could easily be readable. I'll show you a presentation over here. Only 2-3 days back we brought this presentation. Just a second. Okay, over here. Are you able to read this text?
No, ma'am.
Okay, am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I was just asking, is everyone able to read this text?
No, ma'am, it's too small to read.
Exactly.
That's
So
fine.
only 2-3
Ma'am,
days
no.
back, one of my student was presenting this PPT in front of me, and I was sitting just 4 to 5 feet away from the screen. Even then, it was very hard for me to read. Okay, and can you identify one more problem with this PPT?
Ma'am, the theme is really dark, and
Exactly. Right, right, right.
the theme is dark, and the words, the color he choose for the text are it's white, so it's not visible. Like if he choose a light theme, like more darker theme like green, black, so it was quietly visible to people or to the audience.
Ma'am, simply the gradient is not good to see. Actually, the
Right.
gradient should be, yeah.
Very correct. So over here, I'll introduce you to the rule of 60-30-10. Okay. So 60-30-10 is a color rule. It says whether you want to draw up a formal presentation or a poster, you need to have 60% of the content in a dominant color. Okay. 30% of the content in a secondary color, and 30% of the space or the content should be in an accent, a nude based, a very neutral color. So over here, if you talk about neutral color, those are white, beige, or cream color. Those are the colors. So 60-30-10 says 60% of your content should be in dominant color, 30% in a secondary color, and 10% in a very neutral based accent color. That's why this particular poster I was talking about, okay, here, this particular poster basically matches up all majority of the guidelines for the paper presentation. First of all, it does not have more than 10% of the white space. Okay, the dominant colors are being utilized to capture your focus on the important points, even when there was a scope for white space. Over here, if I talk about the result section over here, see, this is just a icon which was used. Okay, this space could have been left at white space, left as a white space over here. But was it necessary to leave it as a white space? Because it look, if more than 10% of the white space is left on the poster, it would look like a wastage of space. So instead of wasting up the space, it's better we use infographics like this. Moving further to the this is the most important question that I keep on getting: what font should we use? There's a particular set of font style which is categorized as sans serif font, which comprises of many formal fonts. Basically, those are the formal fonts which does not have some decorative piece attached to it. Over here you can see A written in a formal font or an A written in a decorative form. So always and always use any type of formal font. So again, you can go on to Google, you can ask what are the formal fonts available in the particular application on which you are drawing up the poster. Okay, so the basic ones that you might be aware of is Times New Roman, Calibri, Arial. These are the fonts which are very formal and does not contain any decorative fonts or scripts. Again, I have already iterated that you need to use limited number of color, and 3 is the maximum. Less is more for a good poster presentation. Having a good contrast is equally important, as I've just shown you in the PPT. A darker one, okay, where did it go? Over here. You can see the contrast, dark on dark. It does not look good at all. Keep the background, the rule of thumb is to keep the background as white and put up the dark dominant colors over it, so that it is more attractive to the eye to read. Following up on usage of visual toolbox, always and always prefer graphs over tables. Now, because of the availability of AI, we have more than, I would say, 100 ways of portraying your data in a graphical form than using tables. Okay, again, using of high resolution images is equivalently important. I'll tell you what, when you're designing a poster na, on your screen, whatever application you are using, you are looking at an image on a very short surface. Okay, but when it gets printed, okay, obviously your conference brochure will lay down the printing technicalities also. Okay, you need to have A4 size of a poster or A0 size of a poster. Whatever the specifications are given, you have to abide by those specifications. But again, I'm telling you, whenever you are putting up any image on a poster on a very short surface, on a very narrow surface, when designing it on an application, it may not look blur, but when it goes into printing, it might come as a blurred figure. So the idea of how to verify it will not get blurred while printing is to check what is its resolution definition. I'll just show you how to check for the resolutions. If I have any image over here. Okay, I have, let's say this is the picture. Okay, over here, I'll right click on it, open it with paint. Open with paint. Okay. In the edit, again, this is not working over here. Resolution size. Thumbnail rulers. Okay, over here you can see this. If I take
So,
this,
ma'am,
yes,
ma'am, the screen, ma'am, screen दिख नहीं रहा.
screen dignity. Okay.
Screen का.
Is it visible now?
No.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay, एक second. Is it visible now?
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me just look out for any random images on Google over here. Fine. So, does this parrot image and all these images looking fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now I'll go over here, click on visit. Try to zoom into the page, okay? As much as you are going to zoom in. Now, does this image look perfectly okay to you or a little blurrish?
blurred.
Exactly. The moment you'll zoom into a particular image, it will actually tell you how it's going to look like after it is going to be printed, because printed version of your poster is a zoomed version of your poster that you have designed on a very short space on your screen. So it may not look, see over here, it does not look like any blur image, it looks perfectly fine, but the moment it gets zoom, it looks a little blurrish. So you have to be very specific what are the resolutions of the image that you are going to use, fine, and whether or not those are high resolution images. There are many applications on Google available, all of it on internet, free of cost, where you can convert blurred images into high resolution images. Again, for the methodology, moving further, for the methodology, always and always use a flowchart. While designing a research paper, there's a flow of steps that you go ahead to design a methodology. Those steps should be described in a flowchart in the methodology section. It gives more essence to your research paper because you know exactly what step you did to procure what different types of output. Okay, and also do not leave your graphs, your images unlabeled. Everything has to be labeled, even your x's. Okay, what does this 200 of value, what is this quarter 1, quarter 2, or quarter 3 of which year? Basically resonance to these labels. Furthermore points, again a brief comparison of how a good poster looks like. This is an impactful poster as compared to an overwhelmed poster. The first comparison point is the wall of text. If you are going to have more than 30% of text on your poster, it is going to look a lot cluttered. Okay, then having a microscopic font, as we have already seen how does a microscopic font can interfere with your poster presentation and can harm your poster presentation over there. So use the poster's font size so much as that a person standing 4 to 5 feet away could easily read on to your poster. Then having a low contrast colors is always good idea. Keeping white as a background and use the colors on it. And again, a rule of thumb, always use black color for the text of the for the body of the poster. And do not miss the punchline, which is your conclusion and recommendation. You can always enhance its visual by putting it in a separate box. Over here in the impactful poster example, okay, the conclusion was missing in the overwhelmed poster, but it is very much highlighted in the impactful poster. Okay, this is the area where you need to see, okay, what is the conclusion, what is the implication, what is the recommendation. Now, additional points that nowadays conferences are also allowing for the digital posters. Okay, there are many screens available, and over there you need to display your poster. If that is the scenario, again, try to just a second. Okay, so if that is the scenario where you have been asked to portray the poster in a digital format, again, do ask for the specification, the size of the digital device on which the poster is going to be portrayed, because that is again going to impact. Okay, if you are creating a poster which is of higher specification than what of the device, then half of your poster is going to be cut out and it's not going to be fully displayed. And a good idea is always to put up a QR code on the bottom side, left or right, wherever the space is or wherever it looks good. Put up a QR code which provides you with the full access to the paper or a personal website or your LinkedIn account or the supplementary data which actually authenticates your research, or maybe a video explanation. So this gives the reader, the audience, an idea that you are very sure of your research and you are there to display every aspect of your research over there. Yes, Mr. Piyush.
Ma'am, it's similar like references
No,
in
no, no,
researches.
not references. आप बेसिकली द थिंग इज कि अगेन पोस्टर के ऊपर हम सारी चीजें रिसर्च पेपर की नहीं डालते हैं. द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट इज कि हम लिटरेचर रिव्यू नहीं डालते पोस्टर के ऊपर. ठीक है, थोड़ा सा एक दो लाइंस में उसके बारे में मेंशन कर देंगे. बट लेट्स से कि आप जा रहे हो किसी कॉन्फ्रेंस में पेपर पोस्टर प्रेजेंट करने के लिए एंड दे आस्क यू कि आपने कितने रिसर्च पेपर्स पढ़े और कहाँ से वेरिएबल्स एक्सट्रैक्ट करे फॉर योर रिसर्च. ठीक है, यू शुड ऑलवेज प्लेस अ क्यूआर कोड विच गिव्स यू फर्दर इंफॉर्मेशन अबाउट योर रिसर्च. तो जो चीजें आप अपने पोस्टर पे नहीं डाल पाए हो, ठीक है, आप उसको क्यूआर कोड के साथ लिंक कर दो एंड दैट प्लेस दैट क्यूआर कोड ऑन योर poster so that anyone asks you any further question and want to see any extra part of your research paper or maybe a full access research paper का PDF आप उस QR code से link कर दो. So you have always accessible. Yes.
Ma'am, I have a question. Like a single QR is basically on for one. Like if you are uploading a PDF and making it on QR, तो वो सिर्फ उसका QR होगा.
नहीं, see,
Either
आप QR code में एक Google Drive का link डाल दीजिए.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking कि अगर हम एक Google Drive पर लिंक डालें जहाँ पे हम अपनी पर्सनल वेबसाइट्स की अदर डिटेल्स and supplement data, video explanation ये सब रहेंगे,
Right.
तो then the QR works, ना? But if
Exactly.
we are just putting one QR for one thing, that's not gonna happen.
नहीं नहीं, द आइडिया इज कि अगर आप इनमें से कोई एक चीज डालना चाहते हैं तब भी आप क्यूआर कोड से लिंक कर सकते हैं. अगर आप ये सब एलिमेंट्स इनकॉर्पोरेट करना चाहते हैं तो आप गूगल ड्राइव पे सब कुछ डाल के और गूगल ड्राइव का क्यूआर कोड डाल दीजिए. फाइन विद इट? श्योर.
Yeah.
तो जनरली व्हाट हैपेंस विद द पीएचडी स्कॉलर, दिस हैपेंस कि पीएचडी स्कॉलर्स क्या होते हैं, अपने थीसिस में से कुछ चैप्टर्स को अलग से पेपर बना के उसका प्रेजेंटेशन करते हैं. ठीक है, so they always put up the QR code for to access their original PhD thesis. Okay, basically the paper doesn't stop over here. It has extended implication which are listed in my thesis, and this is the reference to my thesis. Okay.
Okay.
And one more point that I missed to inform all of you, that over here, while putting up the title, now, see, you might be interested in placing your poster in more than one conference. Okay. If that is the case, never ever put up the name of the conference on your poster. This poster is about you and your research. So you can put up your affiliation, your designation. Even if you want to put up your email id IDs of the author, that is completely okay. But any other information, anything about the conference where you are placing up this poster is redundant, because then you cannot use this same poster into some other conference. Okay, so never put up the conference name. Now coming to the toolkit, where you can actually design your posters. So there are many design platforms available. Canva is the most user friendly template based application for you to design. uh, Along with the Canva, there's another design platform which is known as Notebook LM. इन दोनों के ऊपर पोस्टर कैसे डिजाइन होते हैं, I'll just tell you in next 2-3 minutes. Again, if you are going for the professional graphic suits, there are Adobe Illustrator, Inkspace, where you can work to design more complex designs. But being an amateur, being a beginner in the field of research, I think you should start with the Canva or Notebook LM. They give you a basic idea of how a poster should look like, and then you can go ahead and further edit it according to your choices. Again, while creating your poster, you need to consider all the ethical considerations also. You need to cite every single reference. Try to avoid plagiarism. There are softwares which will identify if your data, if your content is AI generated or not. Okay. Do acknowledge the support if you have got from any institutional or individual person. So if you have, for example, you have procured funding for your research, uh, let's say you have got an ICSSR funded project, and you are placing a poster for presentation based on that research, you need to acknowledge that you have received funding from ICSR. Okay. And do maintain the data integrity, that present the data honestly and accurately, that should not be manipulated. That is the basic research ethics we all need to follow. Now, drafting and creating a poster is not the end of the story. As I said, that this session is about going beyond the board, expressing the thoughts and opinions behind working on this research paper and drafting the conclusion and implications of it. This is basically crafting a 2-minute story for your audience. So once you are prepared, once you are done with the designing of the poster, you need to develop or write down a 2-minute story which starts with the core research problem or question, that why should we care about a particular problem enough to do a research on it. The second follows the quest. Briefly explain and the objectives and methodology you followed to obtain the objectives, or to obtain the solution which could help you to resolve the problem portrayed in the very first step, and highlighting 1 to 2 key surprising or impactful findings. Obviously, if your research paper is going to be there with like 5 to 6 findings, always and always highlight 1 to 2 most strikingly, astonishingly impactful findings that your research papers have brought into the domain. And finally, ending your story with a conclusion and implication, that why does this research basically matter. This 4 pointers will help you to create a pitch for you to state in front of the judges or the audience which are there to know about your research more. Because and lengthening your research work for more than 5 minutes, even like 3-4 minutes more than that, audience gonna get bored, because there are going to be more than 10, 15 research posters in front of them, and they have to spend time on each and every element of the poster. It's going to take a lot of time. So for you to get their attention, you need to keep it everything in a very crisp form. And this is the final 4-step approach for everyone, so that they can actually interact with the audience and the judges. You should always listen. Lend your ears first to the audience and the judges. Let them finish their part. Do not interrupt them. Okay, we are making this presentation. The judges might have their own side of opinion, on understanding of the subject. Let them clean up their mind first, and then answer their question. And also answer that question very clearly and very briefly. Do not get into examples, do not get into illustrations, do not get into your personal experiences. Keep your answers crisp, again relevant to your research, and be open to the suggestions, and be very gratitude show your gratitude towards others' opinions and their feedback. The final core principles of having a good impactful poster is the key is basically the clarity, keeping it to the minimum. You not do not need to overload your poster anyhow. Practice breeds of confidence. Keep on practicing your pitch until and unless. Keep a timer in front of yourself. Prepare your pitch in a manner it is not more than 2 to 3 minutes, and try to like analyze and imagine as many questions as that could have been asked to you while in a poster presentation. So you can also use some AI application and ask, I'm going to present a research paper on this title. List the type of questions, or like say, ask it to list down the questions that could been asked to me in a particular conference. So it will give you more than 40-50 questions, and you can all practice it out, so that you are always prepared for that part of the question. Now we can take some more Q&A before I go into actually designing the poster.
I think Dimple ma'am, you
Excuse
can
me,
take up
ma'am.
the design. Okay, there are questions.
Yeah, ma'am. I actually joined a little late, so
Okay.
I'm not sure if you have already addressed this. But is it mandatory for everyone to present their work at the conference? Because I don't live in Delhi. I live in Kashmir, and I come to Delhi for my exams. And right now, I have already left Delhi, so it's not possible for students like me to come to Delhi for the presentation. That is the reason why I wanted you to
It
confirm.
is highly preferable, always. It is always preferable to present your work in a conference or a seminar where you can get an expertise, feedback from the expertise. Okay, because your research work is just not your research work. You are going to contribute to a domain of study over there. If you can have feedback, opinions, suggestions from your experts, it is always beautiful to add those insights into your research. So it is highly recommendable.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, the reason why I asked is because
Whether or not it is a mandatory part of your curriculum, that I think Mr. Nusha Jain could address to that question.
But you could get in touch with your supervisors. So again, it is preferable. So you could talk to your supervisors regarding your concerns. Okay.
okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
So now next 5 minutes, I'll show you how to quickly create the posters with the bestest versions available on the internet. Okay. So
Ma'am,
yes,
I have a question.
yes.
Like, we created a research paper, right? Like the research document.
Okay.
Now the scenario is we already written the parts, like we already written half of it, most. So now, like for the posters, I have to ask, like every research paper needs pictures on it, like the proper pictures and document things like proper describables things on every page. So it's gonna be more impactful, or it's was like just a research paper, like we have to just add some posters on it.
The visuals I'm talking about has to be present on the posters.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not talking about the layout or the anatomy of writing a research paper. The research paper anatomy could be described by the journal for which you are targeting. So, for every journal and every conference that you are trying to participate in, so they have their own separate set of guidelines to authors, and you have to draft your paper according to that guidelines only. Okay, this workshop was predominantly for how to design and do a poster presentation. The visuals are important for a poster presentation because you cannot put a 15-page research paper on one sheet of poster.
Yeah, ma'am.
Right.
So basically, so the posters is like quite of details regarding the projects, and proper details of like the it's related to the basically what we are researching for, right?
Poster is basically a snapshot of your research, okay,
Yeah.
on a piece, on one sheet of paper.
Yeah.
And when you're putting up a snapshot, you
Actually,
need to
ma'am,
put all the highlights. Yes. Am I still logged in?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
ma'am, do we need to present our research paper in conference hall or just poster only?
Sir, your voice was breaking down.
Ma'am, I'm asking that do we have to present our poster only, or we need to present their our research paper also?
In this conference, in conference you have to present the poster, but some conference also ask you to submit your full research paper. Okay.
So now in Vigyan Bhavan, do we need to have our research fully completed, or just poster is okay to
Okay.
present
Okay, as I said, कि
there?
आप research आप poster presentation, आप poster बिना research paper के नहीं दे सकते हो. Okay. Okay, I'll quickly show you how to create a research paper. Okay, over here you need to describe your idea. I am going to give a very vague prompt over here. You can actually work on your prompt and put in an exact prompt to get a research poster designed by you. So first of all, I'll show you how to create a research paper. Huh. This is the PDF of a research paper which has been already published. Okay, for the attached research paper, design an academic poster and go. So it's gonna take few minutes. Okay, so AI is going to take few minutes to develop this poster. So it's thinking right now. Meanwhile, I'll show you there's another AI which is known as Notebook LM. Okay, so just go on to Google and type Notebook LM, and this web page opens up. Click on Try Notebook. So I've already created some posters for you to see. So this was a research paper. I'll just show you the research paper also. The future of stress management. Okay, so this was the research paper that I uploaded on Notebook LM. Okay. So as you can see, this research paper does not have many graphics. Okay. It has a lot of tables. Now I asked Notebook LM to convert this research paper into an academic poster, and this is what it has created for me. And by clicking over here on download, you can download it. Again, it matches to our specification of not using more than 3 colors, keeping the contrast background of the contrast as low as possible. Now putting it more visuals, highlighting the key findings and the conclusions and the implications over here. Let's just see. Okay, so my Canva on it, just give it, asking it for few more minutes. Okay, now what does so I'll show you my research paper first that I have uploaded on Canva. Okay, so this research paper was an empirical analysis of social and cultural intelligence. It was written by me in the year 2017. Okay, so as you can see how boring this research paper is, completely black and white. And I uploaded this on Canva and put it in a prompt to design an academic poster for my attached research paper, and this is what it has drawn. Okay, now there's a way of interacting with Canva and ask it to more improvise on the poster. Over here, add an illustration of diverse professional collaboration, or with modern academic colors. I have clicked it on by mistake. So I wanted to ask Canva to add research methodology and conclusion of the research paper in the poster. Objectives also. So my next prompt is going to be add objectives, research methodology, and conclusion of the research paper in the poster. Let it just generate.
Ma'am, do we need single poster or multiple posters for one research paper?
Now, single poster. On one poster, you have to put in every important aspect of your research. So these are basically Canva is giving me multiple design options over here. So I can choose any one of them. Okay. So now I'm clicking on this prompt, add objectives, research methodology, and conclusion of the research paper in the poster. Let's see what Canva is going to return as an output to me. Meanwhile, Notebook LM is open. Let me see. Okay, So I'll go and click on new notebook. Over here, it will ask me to upload the paper. This is the PDF again. It's going to take a little bit of time to upload the document. Done, as you can see. And now over here, you
Excuse
can
me,
click
ma'am.
on yes,
Ma'am, we have not completed our research yet. Like it's not ready.
yes.
So how can we make a poster without the research paper? Like we can.
Yes, you can. You just need to upload the PDF. Okay. Now the PDF might contain a full-fledged, finalized, polished paper, or it may contain the notes for writing a paper. Right? As I said, in the very first few minutes of this presentation or of this workshop only, okay, you can design a poster for an ongoing research paper also, given you have done work around it and you have notes prepared. Okay, so you must have your methodology written up, you must have your data collected, you must have your findings written up in form of certain notes, and then you just upload those notes in the PDF format. I already had the finalized paper, and that's what I'm uploading. Once you upload those notes or the paper, now over here there's an option for infographic or slide deck. Slide deck basically prepares the presentation for you, and infographic prepares the poster for you. So I'll click on infographic. Again, over here it's going to take some time. As let's just go back and see if Canva has done. Okay, yes, Canva has started producing the posters. Okay, so these are some designed posters. I can always choose one template, go back and edit it as per my own customization. So the first draft of the poster has been developed by AI within few minutes, right? So I can always chat with Canva to improvise on my research poster. So add an academic illustration also. Jumping back to notebook. So it is still creating. Okay, so I have reached my daily infographic limit. Let me just log in with some other. Mm, I'll just log in with another account because I've been developing a lot many posters using this prompt. Yes. Yes, it's been my research paper has been uploaded over here. Let's click on infographic now. So it is generating infographic based on one source. Let's go back to Canva and see it has given me much more better. So I can ask again the Canva to do with minimalistic color style, to keep the number of colors less, okay, and add many prompts as I can to improvise on my poster. I can always click on any of these poster and it will allow me to edit the poster. So I can drag it, keep it anywhere. Okay. Or the same, it's still generating. It takes a little bit of time, but it does the work. Meanwhile, we can take up any further questions if you have. Any further questions if I have? I can take it up right now.
Ma'am, there are some questions in message box, I think.
Okay, let me just look at it. Okay, so the PPT, the poster is also ready. So the poster is ready now. I'll just click on it and see. See how aesthetically looking good poster it has drafted for me. I just need, if I want, I can make changes to it, to the content and all, and get it printed. Let's just come back to your queries. Okay, we have not completed our research paper yet, so we can make a poster. Yes, you can always create a using notebook LM. You can always create your poster based on your pointers and your notes also. So there's no need for completing your research, having a full-fledged research until and unless your conference requires you to submit a full-fledged paper. You don't have to get ready with your paper before starting with the poster presentation. I think that is the most frequent question you have been asking. How many academic posters do you have to make for a research? For one research paper, one poster is enough. I think this is the end for it. Thank you all for joining in today. Should we end this up?
Thank you, Dimpy ma'am, for such an insightful session. I think
Thank
all
you,
of
ma'am.
you have got the insights as to how to create the poster. So you can now connect with your supervisors, okay, regarding further
मैम मुझे
updates.
आपसे
Thank you,
एक चीज
everyone.
पूछनी है।
Okay, thank you.
मैम
मैम
मैम मैम ये मैम मैम एक एआई टूल है रिसर्च रैबिट नाम से, जो आपका लिटरेचर रिव्यू के लिए काफी हेल्पफुल है।
See, there
मैम
are limitations to use of AI in ethical research. Okay, I think that is not the scope for our workshop. It's better you connect with your supervisors. They'll better guide you what AI we can use and what AI we can't use for the ethical purposes. The AI that I
ओके
told you about, Canva AI, Notebook LM, you can use them for designing the posters. Okay, you cannot use the content developed by those AI. The content should be yours. As I uploaded my research paper, again there are risk of uploading your research paper on an AI. I uploaded it because it was already a published work. Okay, because as many documents that you upload on AI gets into their databases. So when
मैम
hmm,
एक्चुअली मैम ये आई मैम वो बात नहीं है, वो एक्चुअली उसके अंदर जो ऑलरेडी रिसर्च पेपर हो रखे होते हैं, वो उसके उसके बारे में ज्यादातर हमें वही बताता है। मतलब रिसर्च पेपर है जो उसी हमारे जो सब्जेक्ट है उसी से रिलेटेड पेपर, उसी के कनेक्टिव पेपर्स के बारे में बता रहा है।
right,
हमें खाली उसके लिए लिटरेचर मिल रहा है हमारे सब्जेक्ट के लिए। बस मैं यही पूछना चाह रहा हूँ कि
वो तो आप
कहीं
डायरेक्टली रिसर्च डेटाबेस पे भी जाके देखेंगे तो वो आपको बताएंगे। स्कोपस पे अगर आप जाके सर्च करेंगे तो स्कोपस का एआई इज इफेक्टिवली गुड। वो आपको उससे रिलेटेड सारे रिसर्च पेपर्स रेकमेंड कर देगा। देयर इज आल्सो कॉल्ड रिसर्च मैपिंग। वो एआई स्कोपस एआई आपको करके देता है। मुझे कभी रिक्वायरमेंट लगी नहीं ये एक्सटर्नल एआई पे जाने के लिए, क्योंकि जो रिसर्च डेटाबेसेस मैं यूज करती हूँ उसके अंदर जो इनबिल्ट एआई है दोज आर इफेक्टिवली गुड फॉर द रिसर्च, जो एथिकल वेज में यूटिलाइज किए जा सकते हैं।
तो हम यू कैन आल्सो रिकमेंडेड समथिंग टू।
मैं तो कर रही हूँ स्कोपस एआई। स्कोपस का खुद का एआई इतना इफेक्टिव है, मैं उन्हीं के माइंड मैप्स यूज करती हूँ टू एक्सट्रैक्ट सम मोर पेपर्स रिलेटेड टू देम टू माय रिसर्च।
मैम मुझे भी आपसे एक क्वेश्चन पूछना है। जैसे कि हमारे रिसर्च में सिर्फ बार ग्राफ्स, चार्ट्स, टेबल्स बहुत कम है, या मतलब एक ही दो हैं, तो क्या हम पोस्टर क्रिएट कर सकते हैं बाय कैनवा?
क्या कर सकते हैं?
मैम जैसे कि हमारी रिसर्च कंप्लीट हो चुकी है, हम हमें पोस्टर क्रिएट करना है। तो मैम जैसे कि हमारे में जो डेटा है मतलब वो हमारा वैसे न्यूमेरिकल में है, कोई डेटा जैसे चार्ट्स में नहीं है, चार्ट्स में या टेबल्स में नहीं है, सिर्फ रिटर्न वर्क है सारा कुछ। तो मैम क्या हम पोस्टर क्रिएट कर सकते हैं विद द हेल्प ऑफ कैनवा और जो आपने बताया, हम कर सकते हैं
बिल्कुल।
इफेक्टिवली?
मेरे रिसर्च पेपर में भी ज्यादा कोई वो ग्राफ्स वगैरह थे नहीं, टेबल्स ही थे जो मैंने अपलोड किए है। आप एआई को अपना काम तो करने दो पहले। आप एआई पे पेपर अपलोड करो, वो आपको इस तरीके के रिसर्च पोस्टर्स बना के देगा। उसके बाद आप उसके अंदर चेंजेस तो कर ही सकते हैं ना। सी यहाँ पे ऑप्शन है यूज कैनवा एडिटर।
मैम एक चीज और पूछनी है।
हाँ जी।
मैम जैसे कि हम अभी चैप्टर्स पे वर्क कर रहे हैं अपनी रिसर्च के अंदर, तो मैम हम उसमें चार्ट्स एंडिंग में डालें कि जहाँ पर हमें डालना है, जैसे कि कॉन्सेप्ट के बीच में हमें चार्ट का यूज करना है, जैसे चार्ट्स और डायग्राम्स,
अगेन
तो वो बता दीजिएगा।
आप वो पेपर अपना कहाँ पब्लिश करवाना चाहते हैं, तो पब्लिशिंग की ना जहाँ पे भी आप पब्लिश करवाना चाहते हैं वो जर्नल्स की खुद की गाइडलाइंस होती है, ठीक है।
ओके मैम।
अगर गाइडलाइंस में लिखा है कि आप इन टेक्स्ट डाल सकते हैं तो आप अपने टेक्स्ट के बीच में डाल सकते हैं। अगर उन्होंने अलग से मांगा तो वो आप अलग से। अगेन यू हैव टू गो बाय दी ऑथर गाइडलाइंस जहाँ पे भी आपको अपना वर्क पब्लिश कराना है।
ओके मैम।
मैम
आई थिंक दैट्स इट फ्रॉम माय साइड।
मैम
थैंक यू ऑल फॉर ज्वाइनिंग इन। हाँ जी सर।
जी मैम, जैसे हम एआई से इंफॉर्मेशन निकलवाते हैं तो वो भी तो मैम किसी सोर्स से निकाल के देता है, तो हम एआई के यूज क्यों नहीं कर सकते रिसर्च में?
ओके आपने एआई का रिसर्च हम क्यों, एआई का यूज हम क्यों नहीं कर सकते
नहीं
रिसर्च
नहीं
में?
मैम, आप समझे नहीं।
हाँ
जैसे मैम हम जैसे अपना टॉपिक डालते हैं एआई पे,
हाँ।
तो वो हमें इंफॉर्मेशन देगा।
आप क्या डाल रहे हैं? आप उसको एआई को बोल रहे हैं मेरे लिए एक रिसर्च पेपर क्रिएट करके दे दो?
नो नो नो,
तो फिर आप क्या कह रहे हैं उसको?
मैं कह रहा हूँ कि मैं रिसर्च पेपर नहीं निकालूंगा, मैं उससे पूरी इंफॉर्मेशन निकालूंगा सोर्सेज के थ्रू। वो भी तो वेबसाइट से निकालेगा।
नहीं, क्या इन्फॉर्मेशन निकालना चाहते हैं आप?
जैसे मैम मेरा टॉपिक है एम्पावरमेंट का, एचडीआई के बारे में ही,
हम्म।
तो मैम जैसे मैं इसकी इंफॉर्मेशन और सोर्सेज दोनों निकाल लूँ ऐसे।
मैं वही तो पूछ रही हूँ, क्या इन्फॉर्मेशन आप निकालना चाहते हैं कि कौन
मैम
से
कुछ
ईयर
भी
में वो
बारे में,
पब्लिश
जैसे
हुआ?
जैसे मैम मैं अगर उसमें से सब टॉपिक चूज करता हूँ जेंडर के बारे में,
हाँ
उनकी
जी।
एजुकेशन, तो एआई मेरे को पूरा निकाल के दे देगा, पूरा
हाँ
इंफॉर्मेशन
जी।
डेटा निकाल के दे देगा, टेबल बना के दे देगा पूरी।
हाँ जी।
और मैं सीधा सीधा अपनी रिपोर्ट में डाल दूँ,
हम्म।
तो मैम मतलब वो एआई से मतलब
आप 101% एआई पे भरोसा कर सकते हैं कि वो हेलुसिनेट करके आपको डेटा बना के नहीं दे रहा है और वो एग्जैक्टली वही से निकाल के दे रहा है?
मैम वो तो वेबसाइट भी देगा ना, साथ में वेबसाइट देता है एआई।
वेबसाइट दिया, ठीक है, आपने वेबसाइट पे जाके खुद पढ़ा डेटा?
मैम वो तो पढ़ेंगे ना, इतना तो दिमाग खुद भी लगाएंगे।
Again, AI has a tendency to hallucinate. Okay, so वो एग्जैक्टली वो डेटा आपको दे रहा है नहीं दे रहा, या बीच में अपनी ओपिनियन से मैनिपुलेट करके आपको डेटा दे रहा है, यू विल नेवर नो अंटिल अनलेस यू गो बैक एंड ऑथेंटिकेट इट, ठीक है। रेस्ट आप एआई का कितना यूजेज कर सकते हैं अपने रिसर्च में, कितना नहीं यूज कर सकते, दैट इज अगेन नॉट द स्कोप फॉर दिस वर्कशॉप। आई हाईली रिकमेंड यू टू गो बैक टू योर सुपरवाइजर बिकॉज आप सब अलग अलग डोमेन से हैं।
ओके
मैम। मैम एक लास्ट क्वेश्चन उसके बाद नहीं।
हाँ जी।
मैम मैंने जो हमारे रिसर्च मेथोडोलॉजी क्लास मतलब लास्ट ईयर में एक सब्जेक्ट था, उसके अंदर हमारे सर ने समझाया था कि आप जो है इंटरनेट या किसी भी पेपर का यूज एक पर्टिकुलर जैसे मतलब 10% ही आप उसका एक रेफरेंस ले सकते हैं, है ना। तो मैम ये सही है, हम खाली उसका 10% ही ले सकते हैं रेफरेंसेस?
अगेन थिंग इज आप किस चीज का रेफरेंस ले रहे हैं और क्या रेफरेंस ले रहे हैं, आप सबके डोमेन्स इतने अलग है ना, देयर इज नो वन रूल ऑफ थंब कि दैट वी शुड फॉलो, ठीक है। अगर एक रिसर्च पेपर को मैं पूरा पूरा रेप्लिकेट कर रही हूँ तो वो भी अनएथिकल है। Again, these are the questions for your own supervisor. If you have anything regarding your designing of a poster, please do ask. Can we please keep it to this?
Poster we can make bilingual lenses.
आप किसी भी लैंग्वेज में पोस्टर बना सकते हैं, उसमें कोई लिमिटेशन नहीं है until and unless कॉन्फ्रेंस की कोई प्री डिफाइंड गाइडलाइंस है। मतलब अगर कॉन्फ्रेंस के ब्रोशर में मेंशन है कि आपको पोस्टर इंग्लिश में ही बनाना है या हिंदी में ही बनाना है, तो आपको वैसे ही बनाना पड़ेगा, अदरवाइज तो आप किसी भी लैंग्वेज में बना सकते हैं।
मैम
मैम एक क्वेश्चन और है, जैसे कि हमने पोस्टर को इंग्लिश में क्रिएट किया
about the conference.
मैम जैसे हमने अपने पोस्टर को इंग्लिश में क्रिएट किया है, बट हमें अपने पोस्टर को समझाने के लिए बायलिंगुअल यूज कर सकते हैं ना? जैसे कि someone asks,
अच्छा, ये तो एक बेसिक कम्युनिकेशन टिप है कि सामने वाला आपसे जिस लैंग्वेज में बात कर रहा है, आपको हमेशा आंसर उसी लैंग्वेज में करना चाहिए। दिस इज बेसिक, दीज आर द बेसिक एटिकेट्स। ठीक है, अगर सामने वाला
leave the meet.
हाँ, श्योर।
Thank you.
तो अगर कोई सामने वाला आपसे हिंदी में बात कर रहा है, आप